All right. Well, how are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there.
All right. Well, for our viewers, tonight, this afternoon, we're going to spend some time with. Oh, you're going to have to help me. Is it? Tell me how to pronounce the last name.
Delos Reyes.
Reyes. Okay. I wasn't sure. So Blaire Delos Reyes, who is living currently in Rexburg.
Yep, good old Iceberg, Idaho.
And so today we are interviewing Blaire as part of our Nieces and Nephews series. She's going to help us understand more about her life, her ambitions, her dreams, the things that she's happy about in her life, things she wishes she could change. We are going to ask her to make herself a little bit vulnerable because your cousins are going to watch these.
Yeah.
If I could just, you might already know this, but I give you a heads up. 4 days ago, I did your brother Vard, and it's had 140 views or something like that already. So
anyway. He's an interesting guy. So
well, but even I shouldn't say even Wesley, but Wesley was just I don't know 48 hours ago, and he's already up at 70, I think. And then Drew, I don't know, Drew's probably honing in on 30, and he was just yesterday. So
yeah.
Anyway, without regard to that, I found, by the way, that the nieces, for some reason, are I don't want to. I'll think of a better word maybe later and put it up on the screen, but are a little bit insecure. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. Sometimes, for example, in your case, this is true for sure. Sometimes you tend to marry people that are really out there, and so yeah. and as a result of that, I think that it can, to some extent, even though we don't talk about this, to some extent, you live in sometimes your husband's shadow, but that's true generally. So that's going to change today because we're not going to talk about him.
No, it's funny that you say that, because that was actually when you had sent me the message. I was like, wait, me? Like, you want to interview me? I can, yeah. Anyway, so I'm super excited. There's so many things about this that I think are just absolutely awesome. And that's why I jumped on it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm terrified. But like just this afternoon, I was thinking, I need to change my perspective on this and not not compare myself, first of all. Because I have watched Vard and Wes and Drew's videos, and I'm gonna watch them all. But I got to change my perspective coming into this, that this isn't supposed to be like a professional interview or anything like that. I'm connecting. I'm putting. It's like we're all telling our own story. We're sitting around in a circle, taking our turn telling our story, and so now it's my turn, and I just got to change my perspective on that and just go with it, and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. And in areas where, unless you're hesitating by just thinking, I'll leave it in, but if it's areas where where we're tripping, I'll cut it out. Just because people don't have time to sit there and watch us wonder about ourselves. But no, you're an interesting person, even though for whatever reason there seems to be some hesitancy, but we'll get past that, I think, quickly. So first, I already know how you met your husband, so we're not going to go there, and I'm going to go there with him anyway. What I want to know from you is, and I have a list of prepared questions that I made up just for you. first thing I want to know, and this isn't just for me. I'm doing this sort of. I'm a little bit selfish because it initially started out as just for me, because I wanted to know my nieces and nephews better. But you're right. I mean, as we got going, it became clear this was going to be much bigger and much more useful. And somebody reminded me, hey, you've got a reunion coming up. I was like, what? Oh, cool. Perfect. So I'm sure that it'll come into play there. We'll probably play some games or whatnot, but.
Oh, I'm counting on it.
So tell me this, tell me about your hobbies or special interests, things that maybe nobody knows about Blaire.
Is this like post kid? No, I'm just kidding. One thing I don't think most people know is I'm actually technically going back to school, I guess you could say. I'm working on my second degree. And just because we're in Rexburg and I like to learn and it helps me get out of the house and feel like a normal person. And so I was like, hey, like, why not? Well, one of the things that we had to do for a class I took for career explorations was explore yourself, right? Like take all these personality tests and all these different things. And I found myself, which was actually very discouraging, that when I would look at these questions that would say like rank your interests, like in reading, or if you have, what are your hobbies, those type of things, that I almost didn't know myself because I was like, wait, okay, so do I do this how I would have answered it before I had kids or right now? Because those are very different, I don't think I have changed, me being me, but becoming a mom.
Let's say there was something, you can even do that, like how maybe you had a dream and, during children and everything, maybe you had to sort of modify that dream.
Modify that dream. I think when it comes down to the basis of me and my hobbies, I love to read.
What kind of books?
Not always. I hated reading growing up until I got to about 5th grade. And then the Harry Potter books came out. Gotcha. It sounds very general. I don't know. But the Harry Potter books and the world that J.K. Rowling wrote just opened a whole new world for me. Not only like the world she created, but the world of reading. I'm kind of a moderation in all things type of person. So I like to read, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Gotta have your Jane Austen there, your Pride and Prejudice, your Sense and Sensibility, those type of things. But especially we're Genesis in kindergarten now, we're reading all sorts of science books. I love those. I love to read. I find it very therapeutic. I can kind of tune into a whole new world. And obviously, I think that the scriptures, the Bible and the Book of Mormon are on a whole other level as far as what it can do for me. So, got to get that daily dose in. That's always really good.
So hold on one second. I'm not saying you're doing this, so don't take this the wrong way. I just want to make sure that I'm not looking for a standard answer. Like I'm not evaluating you. Like, does she have a testimony? That's not what I'm doing. So, because I find sometimes first of all, it's a given. You're a member of the church. You would probably bear your testimony. I could probably guess 85% of what you'd say. So what I'm looking for are the things that nobody knows, that I don't know. So I generally accept that you probably read the Bible and Book of Mormon, or that they're the most correct work of any on the earth. Okay, I get it. So go on from there.
I love To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay.
That was one of the first books I remember in high school, breaking down and analyzing. And that was just a completely different bit of literature that I had ever had read up to that point. And I absolutely love dissecting it.
Mm.
And it's still a good one. Last Mohicans, The Hobbit. I'm just I'm a little bit all over the spectrum on that one.
Okay. All right. So that's a special interest. Any hobbies that you do when you find yourself alone with the girls? Or even just by yourself?
So Laren has repeatedly told me that I'm slightly crazy because I have a passion for volleyball. Not just watching it, but like being a part of it. I've actually coached quite a few teams in Washington, in Idaho, in Utah, and I love to play. And just the other weekend, I went down to Logan and played in what they call overnight adult tournament. So you start at like 6:00 in the evening and you just play until you lose. And we went till about midnight or so. And sometimes it can go longer. And when I told her that, she's like, "You are insane. Why would you do that?" But I love it. I love volleyball. I love sports. I was just watching March Madness with Dad a couple minutes ago. I've recently gotten into lifting weights, working out a little bit more consistent in my life. Kira thinks I spend a little bit too much time at the gym.
I think that's hot.
It's therapeutic, and I love it. And can't say, I like to feel. I have found I like to feel strong, and I like muscle. So
nice.
So I love lifting weights. I don't like running, but I love moving weight around. And
actually, I'm the same, so I understand the passion. Trust me. That's awesome. That'll keep you healthier, I think, than running anyway. I mean, you got to have a little cardio, but you get that chasing the girls around, right? So, in what ways is your present better than your past, or worse?
I would hope. I think it is. I think my present is better because I learned, which is important. I think it is worse because I have experienced. And I say that because motherhood, having children, rearing children has pretty much been exactly what I thought it was going to be. The fundamentals of making the bottle, changing the diaper, those types of things, always what I thought it was going to be. But what my body has experienced as far as hormonal changes and postpartum depression and those type of things, I could never have prepared myself for. And it has been worse and it has been hard and it has been a trial and dark and all sorts of things, again, that I could never have prepared, imagined, thought it was going to be. But even through those struggles, I have learned from first to second and now third a couple months ago. So I have learned and I have become better because of that. I still make mistakes, obviously, because I'm human. That's what happens, as annoying as that is. But so there's been both. There has been there's definitely been both. And I'm learning to accept that. I mean, I'm learning to acknowledge myself, acknowledge my shortcomings, which I think is extremely hard. But it's part of this mortal experience. And I'm not going to get any better if I don't recognize those things. I'm going to relate it to lifting weights, right? Because it's a very visual thing. You can see when you start at like the 5 pound, yeah, and it is very real and very visual, and it's right there, and you can't fool anyone else because everyone can see it's 5 pounds. And but you're not going to move to the 10 to the 15 until you acknowledge that 5 pound and you work that muscle until it becomes strong enough to bear that weight. And then you get to move to the 10, and then you get to move to the 15.
Wow. Yeah. Addressing the weights.
I'm a metaphoric person, I've realized. Anyway, so
let me ask you this then, because you kind of touched on it. You younger folks in the Wells family, you're all good. You're all turning out wonderful, and that's all great. Your parents had a fairly strict environment for you, I think. One thing I found, and I want to ask you how this has affected you. I found that even though that was the case, the children of Brock and Tyra learned how to process that. Maybe not when they were home, but once they left, they know how to acknowledge the strictness and the seriousness, and understand it, not rejecting it in any way, not really being super rebellious, but at the same time understanding that that's the role of a parent, and you can process that and still have fun and still kind of wink, wink, nod, nod behind the scenes.
You absolutely, yeah.
Okay. All right, good.
It's interesting that you use the word rebellious. Sorry. Laren has told me that I have no filter. So, take that as it is. I am totally fine with you verifying these stories, these facts with other siblings.
That's all right.
If you want to.
I trust you.
It's funny that you brought up the word rebellious, because there might have been a year or two in my teenage years where I didn't view myself as a rebellious teenager, but I could have labeled myself as the rebellious Wells. So, not that I was trying to be rebellious. I wasn't trying to be naughty. I wasn't trying to do this because I was, I'm, out to get my parents or whatever. I just made impulsive decisions or did stupid things. And, maybe my siblings did that too. I just was really bad at it and got caught. I don't know. Anyway, so I just thought that was. Well,
I mean, maybe you had your moments. I can tell you, I know Haley had her moments too, by the way. I'd say the same. I'd say you and Haley were probably the two that walked the line the closest. Ben, you were still great. There's nothing wrong with either one of you.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's kind of, it makes me laugh, because even as I label myself maybe the rebellious Wells, I mean, I was still like a pretty good kid.
Oh yeah.
Let's not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but it wasn't that crazy. But in our strict household, it probably ruffled my parents' feathers a little bit, and I feel bad about that. But
you'll have your own version of strict with your own kids, and it'll probably be similar, but you may choose to change a thing or two here and there. I don't know. Probably most people do. So I know you play volleyball for fun. What else do you do for fun? What do you find enjoyable that no one would know? Reading, fun, volleyball. You like lifting weights?
No one would know.
Yeah. Come on, we all have them.
There was a time my guilty pleasure was watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I remember we didn't have dish cable growing up, and then my dad got it when we all moved out of the house. And so I remember coming back from one of the semesters of college and actually watching it late at night with Lauren. And my dad just like walking out to say goodnight and just like, why are you guys watching this junk? Like, come on, this is absolutely ridiculous. And anyway, so I don't watch too much TV anymore. I have kind of not to get too political, have kind of recently started dipping my toes into politics, which is
you freak.
I know, just absolutely out in left field. So ridiculous. But that's actually probably something I've always been aware. I've always been aware of what was going on. I probably growing up, I knew who Rush Limbaugh was probably before I could count to 100. But that's probably something recently that a lot of people actually don't know is the different avenues of politics, maybe / conspiracy theories that I've kind of dabbled in. Man, now that you say that, what do I do for fun?
While you're thinking about that, let's call them, just for fun going forward, conspiracy theory was a word made up by the CIA to make people who want to know what's going on look like kooks, right? So call it conspiracy fact or call it conspiracy studies.
Ooh, I like that.
Conspiracy
studies. I like that.
You could be a conspiracy. Let's see. You could be a conspiracy academic. Whoa!
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, I could identify as that. Yeah, that's awesome. We don't do this a ton. I do love to travel though.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's extremely unique or crazy. I do love to watch my husband dance, and he doesn't do it too often anymore, which kind of makes me sad. I'm still waiting every year for my birthday and for Christmas. He asks me what I want, and the first thing I always say to him is, I want you to choreograph a dance solo that you perform for me. And he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. And I don't that sounds, yeah. But I don't
it just sounds like something a healthy married couple would do. That's it.
Yeah, but this doesn't, I would be okay with it being in a studio public setting. I just want it to be something that he creates for me and performs for me, and because I do love watching him dance.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, we're going to shift gears, come back and forth. This will make, I think, it more interesting, and it'll help you, your mind work in other directions. Then we can come back because your mind will be thinking about the stuff we've talked about.
Okay.
So I want to ask you now, with as much life as you have behind you, what advice would you give to your cousins? What's the single or the top 2 things you would tell them?
The top 2 things.
or the most important bit of advice you'd share?
Listen to your parents because they know a lot, but they don't know everything. And I don't mean any disrespect at all by saying that.
So funny. Make sure you qualify every answer so you don't get in trouble.
Yeah. That's definitely when I have always listened, listen to them, internalize what they're directing you, what they're telling you. Just remember, they don't know everything.
Parents aren't perfect. I mean,
and that's okay.
They're going through their probationary period also.
Exactly. And I until I cannot remember if you were talking to Bart or Wesley or Drew, until that had been touched on, I had not really viewed it like that. Because growing up, it's like, it's mom and dad. Like, not in reference to a literal age, but they've been here, they know. But you forget that, their life is still going. They're still learning. And now obviously being a parent, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I still got a lot to learn and stuff. I think another thing is don't be afraid to, grab your life by the horns and have fun and, take a little risk here and there, as a smart, safe one, not anything.
Calculated risk, I think.
Calculated risk, exactly. But go on adventures, jump in the car and take off and explore and, just go for it, because and don't worry what people might or might not think about you for it.
I think that's a really key piece of advice. It's so hard to do, but to stop worrying about what people think, because they don't know what you're going through,
Yeah.
But it's hard for even adults. So.
Exactly. I am completely guilty of thinking, once I'm past, I'm only struggling with that right now because I'm a teenager. And once I get into my teens, once I get married, it'll be fine. It'll all be taken care of. No, we just don't. One thing isn't a light switch that just automatically changes, behavior or patterns. We are creatures of habit. And so it's a, I wish I would have, started practicing that when I was younger, is just be you, and it's okay. And that's how, it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks.
You may have just answered this question, but I want you to ponder it anyway. What do you know now that you wish you'd known when you were younger?
What I know now.
Anything that you said to yourself, oh man, I wish I would have known this in high school.
That I can do it. I can do it. It might take a long time. It might take a short time. It may take a lot of effort. It may take little effort. But I can do it. And I just gotta tap into that acknowledgement of recognizing the potential within myself. And that has been given to me. And I just need to take, that what is it? Shot of courage, or I can't remember, whatever it is. and go for it. Start going for it. Because I can. I can.
That's good. I have obviously nieces on my side of the family also at various stages in life. And sometimes the experiences they have affect the way they look at things, especially themselves, and I watched you growing up, and, you had 3 older sisters that kind of dominated the scene, for a long time. And this is just,
they still do,
yeah, but here's the challenge I want to give you, because you're into weightlifting and you've learned a lot about yourself. They don't have anything on you. They're great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything against them. They're great, but they don't have anything on you. And so I want you to continue to do what you're doing with the weights. I guess that's one of my challenges for you is be your hottest self. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
When you come home for Thanksgiving or family events or whatever, I want you to walk in and own the place.
4th of July.
Boom.
I'll take you on that. That gives me a couple of months.
Yeah, you can lift heavy, you can lift hard. Just think about how good you're going to feel when you walk in those doors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, I'm not going to ask you that one yet. Hold on 1 second. I got 2 sets for you here.
Oh boy.
Not that I can get to all of them. There's no way. Let's move on to life events here. I got so many I've got to read here. Where were you born? Were you born in Richland?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Catholic. All right. This is going to seem like what I want you to do, and I'm going to cut out some of the way that I ask this because it'll sound stupid if I don't, but assume that you're talking to people who know nothing about your family or you, okay? So with that in mind, did your parents have a good marriage?
I think so. Yeah. Good. Absolutely. They respected each other. They loved each other. Yeah. I'd say they have a good, healthy marriage.
Okay. I think one of the challenges with this is if you, not that you wouldn't be honest, but if you were a movie star and you were off living, in Hollywood or whatever, and you had people asking you about your life all the time, you might be a little more open with that question. But in this case, your parents were great. They did have a great marriage, I remember one time I said this to one of the other guys that I interviewed, but we had a family thing and the question came to your mom, what attracted you to Brock?
Oh, thank you so much, Uncle Tim, for sharing that. That just opened. It was great. It was 100% exactly what I needed to hear, and I loved it. And Bart is exactly right. Mom, that is never the answer that we got from Mom when we asked her something similar to that, And so I absolutely love that. So
see, your mom's a funny cat in that I think that she is living and dressing and doing her hair the way she thinks it's expected. She is a mother. She is now a grandmother. But I got to tell you something. When she came to Kyler's farewell, I don't know what she did. She dolled herself up. She looked amazing. And I think that's the one thing, sometimes like I have people tell me things about me that I don't know, I don't see because I'm too close to it. Right. And I like that. Sometimes I don't like it, but Um, but usually I like it. And so this is a good thing for you too, because you already have some great goals that I think will prevent you from sort of falling into that habit of dressing down and not looking your best and being kind of frumpy, don't do that. Don't do that, because nobody expects that. In fact, people are much more proud of both nephews and nieces when we're dressed up. I mean, we look better when we're wearing a suit. Ladies look better when they're wearing a nice dress and they've got themselves dolled up a little bit. It's not sexist. It's human, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway, I don't know. I even said to her, I think she was surprised, probably because I'm slightly inappropriate all the time. But I told her right there in the church, I'm like, Tyra, my gosh, what did you do? You look fantastic. And she looked a little embarrassed, but she was like, oh, good. I'll do it more often. And I thought, yeah. But
Good job, Mo.
I loved it too, because up until then, when I considered the sisters, obviously I married the sister that I think is the best for me and the best looking, clearly. But
I mean, she's pretty darn hot.
Yes, she is. She is. But I hadn't until that Sunday considered your mother at the top of those lists. And it just showed me something. It showed me something about women, because I'd known your mother my whole married life, right? And I've known how she dressed, how she acted. I didn't even know she was capable of it. And I love knowing that she's capable of it. So.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about your family with Kiowa. What kinds of things do you guys spend money on?
Him and us, our family.
Together, yeah.
Together. So if that's one thing that I could really drill into kids who are looking to get married, talk about, before you get married, why do you earn money? Like what's and how do you spend it? What's your motivation? Because I think there's a lot of clash in there, and that can be really hard. Thankfully, Kiowa and I, not that we talked about it too much before we got married, but coincidentally, like, we love experiences. And both of us are okay with, not driving a Tesla or having the 3, 4, 5-story house, because where we want to put our money is in the experiences, the traveling, and the things that we can do together, the memories we can share and build and use, I guess you could say, to teach and just enjoy, to have fun. I think having fun, especially as a family or as a married couple, is, pushed under the rug a lot. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we enjoy and we can do together, and we love to do it together. So I think that's something that, we can keep going with that.
I think that's so mature, in such a good way, because you can't take things with you, but you do take experiences with you. And
absolutely,
we're the same. Like we got the big house when we had the kids all at home, but as they've moved out, we've downsized, and people are going to be surprised when they see how far we downsized. Because, like, one of the things I love the tiny house movement. Will we ever live in a tiny house? Yes, we will. It may not be on wheels. I don't know. But because there's so much that prevents you from having the experiences you're talking about if all your money's going to a mortgage.
Yeah.
So that's really great. I think that's going to serve you guys really well as you go forward. So when you were younger, living out in Basin City, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, man. The first thing I remember wanting to be was to own. Me and Laren had drawn up our own bakery shop, which is very ironic considering now neither of us likes to cook at all.
I didn't know that. Really?
Kioa actually does the most cooking
Good.
in our relationship.
Good.
I love to eat. I don't like to cook and I don't like to clean it up.
He's probably good at it anyway, right?
Oh yeah. And he loves it. So why wouldn't I let him do it?
Of course.
Yeah. No, he's good. He's got the food pulls him through him. That's just part of their culture and he's awesome at it. So I'd let him do it. That's the first thing I remember. And then I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always loved kids and babies and stuff. I wanted to be a nurse, which I got my medical assisting degree, which is very similar to nursing. Absolutely loved it. And I had just thought of I kind of forgot it, but there was something else that I wanted to go to cosmetology school.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And maybe become a makeup artist. But yeah, that didn't happen. Which is okay. It's fine.
Well, okay, so you touched on something a second ago, and now that you're a mother of 3 and probably maybe not done, but you're certainly a mother of 3 at this point. What is different? What would you say is different growing up now when your kids are going to be growing up than when you grew up?
Oh, what is not different is kind of how I see it now. Shoot, everything. Well, I was actually talking about this with a friend the other night. I realized that without us living on a farm, I'm having to learn how to teach in other ways my kids how to work, because that's how I learned how to work. And I think it's a really it's a necessity to know how to work. And yeah, so that's definitely different. But when you're bringing in technology and everything that brings along. I remember when I was pregnant with Genesis, and I was just, I had a breakdown because I was like, I am bringing this precious baby girl into a extremely wicked world, and I'm a terrible person for doing that. And
but wait, you felt terrible about bringing children into the world because of into this world?
Yes. Yeah, like I was like, oh, that's so like I felt terrible. I felt like it was very selfish or mean. Anyway, and I'm sure there was a ton of hormones involved in that episode. Because on the other side, it's a beautiful, amazing world that we live in, but there's a lot of junk out there. There's a lot of evil. And I told Kyo, I was like, our kids are not having phones. Absolutely, 100%. They're not gonna have phones. And he's like, babe, that is not realistic. And if we don't teach them, no one's going to. And then what's gonna happen? Yeah. Everything. And we don't want to come home or have them come home to that. And there were some other discussions and things along the way, but I think just about anything I could put my point at, I could say that's different. That's different. I do think what kind of grounds me and gives me a little bit of hope, and it's also maybe the biggest difference between how I was raised, when I was raised, and how we're gonna have to approach raising our girls, maybe, is I heard through the grapevine there was a church meeting, and they were talking about the adults were talking about the youth and how to raise the youth and this and that and the other thing. And Sister Chris Montier said, telling our children no does not work anymore. Our children need to know the why, and then we can expect obedience. You per se. And I hope I did not butcher that, but that really resonated with me, because I feel like, especially for me and Laren, we were kind of in that transitional phase of maybe like culture, society. Like when we were in high school, that's when Facebook and MySpace and those kind of came out. And that was a whole other ballgame that my parents didn't want to touch. And, having to work through that. And I think as a society, we're making a transitional, have made a transition from, the industrial society to what they call the knowledge society. And so it would be wrong of me to not adapt to that as a parent, and to do my best to adjust and to make myself aware of what's going on. And thank goodness Keel works with teenagers and understands TikTok and Twitch accounts or whatever it is that's out there. So he is much more in tune and understands how those things work and has accounts. So anyway, I'm getting very social media about this discussion. Sorry, but
that's fine. I think that's gonna increase
the world we live in.
I think the social media of the future, though, will be less about going to an app. It'll be more about, this is kind of scary, because I think they're going to develop technology that'll let you communicate. Your social world could still be being processed, of course, but imagine, oh goodness, it's kind of spooky what is being. And I won't ask you the embarrassing question, but it's kind of spooky what's being sent back and forth now. But imagine when there's no technology or no limits like there are now, somewhat. Like I could just, if I were that person, I could just look at someone at the airport and I could communicate with her or him and send or say whatever I wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a whole different social world.
That's a whole different social world. But I think it all comes back to the principles, the why. Like, why do we live this way? Why are we teaching you this? Why is ABC a rule in our home? And, LMNOP and all these things. And because, things are changing. But if we can instill that here and here, hopefully, whatever else the chaos that's going around, we can ground each other and hopefully do a good job.
Hey, I think you're spot on. Our kids have all told us that we didn't tell them enough of the why. So that what you just said really resonates with me, because it took up half of one of our vacations in the Caribbean as a family, going through going through these kinds of frustrations. So.
Your guys is too? Yeah, it's funny how that works out.
Yeah, it was an expensive lesson for me, but
yeah.
But okay, so shifting gears. Actually, since I went there already, what's your most memorable vacation?
Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of divvy it up.
Sure.
When young age would probably be our trip to Yellowstone as a family.
Why?
And why? So we drove obviously everywhere. I didn't fly on an airplane until I was like 20, 21. We drove everywhere.
Was it the big green van? Was it the big green van? Okay, all right.
Everywhere, all the time. I loved every summer we would at some point go down and visit my dad's mom down in Twin. Love doing that. And driving around an old green van that we called Dino. Brings on its own experiences and challenges. We were driving up, I think from Rexburg. I think we picked up Tennille and Haley. I'm not positive. I can't remember. I was young. We drove up when we were driving up to Yellowstone, and we stopped in Green Canyon, and we pitched a tent that night there. And anyway, we as kids end up falling asleep in one tent. Mom and Dad fall asleep in another, and it was a pretty big campground, really nice, covered with grass. And there were a couple other campers around and stuff, but it wasn't too busy. Nighttime rolls around, and maybe I'm gonna get some details wrong here, but basically, Case, I'm pretty sure, hears a noise and swears it's a mountain lion that's in the bushes right behind the tents. Wakes up my parents, terrifies them. So what do? We all jump in the van. And so 8 kids, 2 adults, we're all piled on each other, trying to sleep. And then, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning, my mom's like, Brock, I gotta go to the bathroom. And he's like, okay, go. Like the restrooms, not outhouses, like restrooms. They're right there, and they have like lights and stuff around the campsite. She's like, no, I'm not walking out there. There could be a mountain lion. There could be a cougar. Like, you are gonna make me do that? Anyway, I'm embellishing a little bit, I'm sure. But basically, Dad starts up with a van, and we drive across the grass. So
that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
And then we drove up to Yellowstone and had some good times up there. Adulthood, I would have to, that's a tough one. I would say for different reasons, there's been different trips. One, first time I went to Hawaii with Keila. Our honeymoon in Victoria and BC, and cruises. We've been on 2 cruises as a family, and not the entire cruise, but like I can pinpoint certain stops that were just out of this world. I couldn't even imagine a place being that beautiful and having that much fun with, getting to be with siblings, with in-laws, with my parents, just us, no kids. And we get to like kind of be kids again. Anyways, with, the perks of being an adult and stuff like that. But, oh man, yeah. Trunk Bay, Cayman Islands, paradise. Oh, yeah. So pretty. So pretty.
I know what you mean. I'm the same. You fall in love. I'm not sure there's a better way to vacation than cruise anymore, but right.
Well,
All the
I'm
foods.
right there with you.
Yeah. Cause I like to eat too, and the food's great. And
I don't have to cook. I
yeah,
don't have to clean. I can eat as much as I want. You'll have to ask Kiowa how many ice cream cones he ate on our first cruise.
that is a bit of a problem, right? Is the ice cream is so available, and so are the hamburgers.
Guys, burgers. Yeah. So in so many ways, I completely agree. I don't think there's another way to vacation after you've been on a cruise. I really don't.
Yeah,
And
it's
I don't
hard.
care if it's the same cruise.
Yeah.
Again and
Yeah.
again.
We did that one twice, once with just Tina and I, and then once with all the kids. But yeah.
Which one was better? With the kids or just you and Tina?
Oh, just me and Tina. Now, don't take that the wrong way. Because if we could take the kids again, we would, but there would be some stipulations before we went. There would be some agreed upon rules of behavior. Because, you know, when you take all the kids, the thing they don't understand it. I mean, we spent, you guys, your parents probably spent a lot more, but we spent 10 grand on that vacation. And I'm not sure, you know what? I actually wouldn't have minded all the things we went through on that cruise if we had come off of it and we were closer. But I'm not sure that was the case. And so
Funny how family vacations can do that.
Yeah.
Being closer or apart.
And I'm not putting anything on anyone else. You know, as I've gotten older, the thing I've learned most is the only person's behavior I can change is mine. I can't change anyone's behavior. I can invite, but mostly it's me learning how to process what other people are going through, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When we grow up in these LDS environments, and I'm not blaming it on LDS, it just happens to be a certain lifestyle. You do have certain expectations of where things are going to go. And the world today, nothing is like it was when I was growing up. I mean, nothing. The expectations are different. Yeah. And so the way that even Tina and I were as parents, our expectations we had, I don't know, because it's ironic. We used to have, I'll probably cut this out, by the way. We used to have family home evening all the time. I mean, we did it out in Basin City. We did it all the time. And then I look at, Carlin didn't go on a mission, things that Darian's going through. Gavin didn't go on a mission. Demi didn't go on a mission. Then ironically, as Kyler's coming up, we didn't, we're just like, whatever, don't even worry about family home evening. Let's just, let's make sure we, it's just ironic. He turns out to be the one who went on a mission and, so that makes you really question yourself. Speaking of that, how do you think you're most like your mother? In what ways?
This would actually be kind of interesting to ask Kiowa to see if he sees similarities between me and my parents. I can be a little bit stubborn, or set in my ways, my perspectives, or how I think things should be. Him and I have plenty of stories to go along with that. But I would hope that I'm patient like my mom. I mean, she would have to be to raise 8 children, but just her natural patience and an ability to listen. She was always just really good about that, and I hope that I'm kind of like that. I don't think I have a lot of the Taylor girl physical features, especially when I look at pictures of my mom when she was my age. I think I've kind of built more on the wall side, which I'm totally fine with. But you know, just due diligence. I think my mom's. I would hope that I'm kind of like that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just. I don't consider myself a black sheep necessarily of the family, but I don't know if I would. If someone would look at me and just be like, "Yeah, you're a mini Tyra," or "Yep, you are just like your dad." I don't know if anyone would say that, and maybe they would, and maybe I just don't see it as in myself necessarily, or if there's just like little things here and there that kind of are blended between them that makes me. But I have grown to love to work outside, and I think that's a Taylor woman, my mom attribute.
It actually is. Tina's probably the least likely to want to do that, but the other three are definitely green thumbs. If you had $1 million, if I walked up to your house tomorrow and I knocked on your door and opened a briefcase and left $1 million cash on your door, what would you do with the money?
Do I have to pay tithing on it?
Well, I already pay tithing on it, so
yeah, right, because of the gift. So,
right,
okay.
Right.
So put that aside. So I would take an amount, probably if you're looking kind of at it as I do, like as a pie chart, right? There would be a slice there for me and my family, so that we could, do what we want with it, which would probably be traveling a lot. There might be a little bit of talk in there of purchasing some land or something in Hawaii, because I think Kiowa technically gets a discount or something there. Not really sure how that works, but and then a big chunk of that I would actually give to my parents.
Really?
Maybe, and probably some to Kiowa's parents as well. And then they can do as they wish with it. That would just be, $1 million is a lot of money, right? I can't even comprehend that. I don't even know what that would look like, feel like, the capacity of it. But I think even if I gave all of it to my parents, I would still feel indebted to them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty sweet.
I could never pay back my parents for how awesome they are.
That's pretty sweet.
And then, knowing them, I'd probably just be like, "Hey, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. If you wanted to like dish a little bit of that out to like the aunts and uncles, that would be awesome, because then, hey, maybe, we all get to do something as a family. It would just be so awesome if like all of the cousins could like go and we get a couple of houses on a beach in Hawaii or something like that. And then leave some to be able to maybe start a foundation or a scholarship program. I think that'd be so fun. Keo has always talked about how he wants to go back to Guatemala. That's where he served, and start some sort of like dance after school program that involves dance for kids. They have somewhere to go, so that they're not on the streets. They're not dabbing in this and that, and they have somewhere to go, to feel wanted, to feel productive, included, learn lessons, just to help people in or yeah, like I said, start a foundation. I'd love to turn things around for systems like orphanages, school programs, just kind of revamp those and put the focus back on families and kids. But yeah, that's probably what I would do.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. You want to bless other people. Okay, so this is similar but not the same. I give you 3 wishes. What are they?
I think the first one that comes to my mind is that, you know, when we get to, sorry. When we get to the other side, there are no empty chairs. And you know, you can't take away people's agency, and I know that's part of the plan. But yeah, I'm so excited for the family reunion in July. I can't imagine eternity without someone there. So there's that one. I think another wish I would have or would take you up on is probably more medical driven. Being able to oh,
there you go.
Oh, sorry.
You turned off for just a second.
Sorry about that. Being able to I guess you could say cure, be able to cure, and or to develop cures, I guess, faster. Maybe, you know, the science of it, develop cures, get those out there and cure people for things that, you know, take people away.
That's good.
The third one, I mean, I would be okay with buying a cruise line. I really would. And you know, I don't know what we would call it, but you know, the first boat that goes out, all of the family's expected to be there. So
with the full crew chefs, chef's crew.
Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. You know, it's not just the boat. I mean, that third wish is covering it all.
Yeah, cool.
Taking care of all of it. So
awesome. I think I want to go.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, I got 2 more, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Oh, great.
To say whatever you want to say to everybody, but there's 2 more before we get to that point for the other one. But I want to know what you think your 3 best qualities are. And then
what I think my 3 best qualities are. I try to treat others the way I want to be treated.
Okay.
And I think I have pretty nice eyes. I don't know that's actually probably not a
Yeah, it is.
quality as it is a feature.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, tell me this then. What are the benefits of having your eyes besides Kiowa falling in love?
It's actually kind of funny. I would have thought that he would have listed that as one of the reasons that he was attracted to me, but I don't think it is, which is, whatever. It's fine. But what attracted me to Kiowa, one of the things was his eyes, and not necessarily the color of them, but the light that came from them. That kid just has an energy, a fire burning inside of him, that just, he's got bright eyes. There's a lot coming out of that soul. So
For sure is.
maybe my eyes were able to recognize that in his. And I think I'm able to, the third one maybe would probably be something to the effect of, I'm not extreme. I can't say this before, but kind of a moderation in all things type of girl. And
You're steady Eddie.
yeah, and just I'm not a whole lot can rock my boat.
You're pretty easygoing. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty.
Laid back.
I kind of had to be married to Kiowa, so it wasn't. I don't think it would have worked out, but yeah, just I don't, I absorb a lot, just try and filter through it, and just learn and grow and let it go if I need to, and move on if I need to, and just be me. I don't know.
What do you think your 3 worst qualities are?
Oh, my 3 worst qualities. I am not a very good communicator.
Yeah.
And before, when I hinted to, hey, your parents might not know everything, they might know everything. They just might not be very good at communicating it with you, which then translates to you. Type of deal. I struggle with it. I really do. I'm a people pleaser, and that combined with not being able to communicate stuff just layers and builds and can fester until I let it all out, and Kiowa's wondering what the heck is going on. Who is this crazy lady that just walked through my front door? Yeah, I could definitely work on those things for sure. And then you said 3.
Hey,
yeah.
if you can't think of a 3rd, that's fine.
Well, I feel like it's just kind of lumped them all together kind of thing. In certain ways I probably could be a little bit more disciplined, maybe. But
okay.
Just not in an overall picture, but just certain things, kind of leveling that part out in my life. Yeah.
All right. One more, and then you get the floor. So last question. You're leaving, what do you have, Albertsons that you shop at there?
Brolum's, Albertsons, Walmart.
Okay. All right. You're leaving the supermarket parking lot, whichever one it is. And there is an old man standing on the corner with a cup. And he has got a sign that says, freezing cold, can you help? Which one of you or your husband are more likely to say, pull over? I want to give him some change.
We both would, actually, but to change to how we would react to it, what we have learned, we both would pull over, but before we did, we'd probably go stop by or grab something that we had just purchased, or go to, which we have actually done this, drive to a McDonald's, grab some food, take it back.
Okay, good answer. Okay. The floor is yours. What else would you want people, not just your cousins, but what else would you want people to know about Blaire?
About me? Oh, man.
Or let me change that up. Let me change that up so that you do have the floor. What are your parting words? What's the last thing you want to say in this interview?
As hard and as challenging as life is, try to not take it too seriously, or another way to look at it is be proactive in your happiness. You hear a lot of finding the joy in the journey. I know for myself, I often get focused on the joy in the journey part and forget about the finding, which requires action on my part. And it can be hard. It can be really hard, but life can be so awesome. And you can enjoy it and you can have fun. And that might take a little bit of work, which seems kind of, wait, I have to work to have fun. But be proactive in your happiness. Go out there and breathe and open your eyes and just absorb it. Absorb the beauty around you, and what's out there, what you can go grab it.
Very cool. Well, I want to thank you for spending the last hour and 15 minutes with me. I appreciate it very much.
Hey, thank you, because I get a break. I'm just chilling by myself. This does not happen very often.
Oh, good. You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Well, you're wonderful. I appreciate all of the things that you've said. As soon as I can get this posted, I will, and I'll send you a link so that you know it's up. Then you can go and be horrified. Oh, no! But
yeah, I'm so excited for everyone else's. I probably will watch my own, but we'll see.
Don't be afraid of it. You're fine. You're great. I mean, you're better than great. So
thanks.
I love you.
Love you. Thanks for choosing Aunt Tina back in '89, and for her choosing you, and you guys choosing each other every day since. You got so much to our family, and I'm so glad. As much as I was scared of you as a toddler, I love that you're my uncle, and I love that you're doing this stuff. Thanks.
Well, thanks very much. We'll see you soon.
Love you.
Okay,
Bye.
love you. Bye.